Thanks a lot. Thanks to the speakers before. It was a very enthusiastic session this morning, especially about all the things about the extension of the fiber. I'm going now 2 levels higher. The topics what we discussed this morning are, let's say, for us as a subscriber, just something which we think it is available. We are not paying for the thing like how we are connected. We are paying for services. And especially when you think about this, then you come immediately to the situation how difficult it is if you want to select different services. Today, you go to the internet and apply for new services, and you don't know when you get them. You know how difficult it is as a carrier to implement the service. And this is the reason why it takes so long. Because you have many different vendors out there with different solutions. You have many different interfaces to cover. And you, as a technician, let's say in the operations side, you would be happy to support your marketing, doing spot-on marketing, guys, but we all know how difficult it is today that you have the situation that it really takes quite some time to get the service new implemented. We all agree that, let's say, such service implementation should be automatic as much as possible. However, we also have to see that quite often you have intermediate layers between typical network management systems, then the subscriber management area, and a lot of other phases. Sometimes carriers have written own scripts there, and it takes really quite some time, let's say, if you have to rewrite such things. And what is more and more critical, we experience especially from the tier 2 and tier 3 customers, what will happen if those knowledgeable guys are moving? Unfortunately, I'm also in the gray area zone, so you can imagine that there is quite some guys who are going to retire. And I brought it here. Real-time customer actions are challenging. We all know that, let's say, we had the discussions, what do I need at home? And it changes. If there's a special event, most probably I want to have not only 50 megabit, I want to have 100 megabit. But this temporary situation today is really not possible. And there is no reason why it should not be possible. And last year, I introduced the concept of orchestration, service orchestration. Today, I want to present to you what we tried to set up as a demonstrator, which we show what could be done and what is possible with simple approaches that we can integrate third-party elements into service orchestration. We can show, let's say, I'm getting older.
Workforce.
We want to demonstrate how easy it is to change the service, and we showed combination of physical networks and virtual networks and intent-based driven orchestration. And for this, we have set up a demo. And I come to this later, what we can offer to you. I first want to introduce you the demo. We have set up what we set up. Familiar layer of the SDN. Those are not the service, yeah. Also transmission link. Cut the of the area around which they provide to the respective service. And in extension, we also do something like security areas. And we interface to different like Salesforce. You have your customer data, inventory data, and we take that and give the driver out to activate services in different manners in real time. And on the demonstrator, Local OLT. We will solve this until we have this system completely ready. And what we do, quite important, is that this complete setup is not done by engineers. It's done by our system engineers. Quite normal, like the knowledgeable guys from your technicians. You don't need R&D. It should be very simple that you are able to set up this. And now, service that we create, we try to keep it simple. We can extend easily to other things. We did a very high bandwidth in different flavors through different ONTs, through different OLTs, and we have mid-sized traffic through another OLT. And this is what we can demonstrate, and we can give you access that you really can try by yourself and can see completely the different profiles, what we are using, and what do we achieve there? How do we do it? Okay? We have the area around the customer-facing services where the customer is in the center and have the details. Then we have the resource-facing area, and we have finally the service flow templates. And I focus now on the things how we set up there. We activate the flow. We get the different information from the customer database. We get the respective OLT and IP from the resources, from the inventories. And we then test in the orchestrator, would the service be able to be provided? This step is here missing in the picture. But before the service is going to be activated, it will be tested in a sort of, yeah, the profiles are available, we can do it, the resources are available, we can activate it. If it is not possible, then the operator gets the information that it cannot be automatically installed. And then we configure the transport, we configure the VNG, and we configure the OLT. And the configuration of the OLT is we use service templates. We add to the service templates optional parameters, for example, different profiles with different services. Then we define the development scope and confirm and deploy and give a feedback that it is employed, and then we monitor and manage. And especially on monitor and managing, you know all that, let's say, the service is not always very stable. It can also change. Then automatically it gives back, the system gives back to the operator an information that the service is not properly working, and would also guide the operator which alternatives they have. And it gives also a feedback to the end customer, can be done. So far, let's say most of the operators don't want this, but it can also give feedback to the end customer and say, okay, sorry, the 100 megabit today is not possible, I can give you 50 megabit. Our structure of the orchestrator, this is our complete area of orchestration. We have an intent fulfilled engine, we follow the standards, and I come again what Norbert said, my colleague yesterday, you can have this really by following strictly the standards. This is not something which is as property, it's standard-based information, what you can really get available on the orchestration side. And we have then also this area below where we use interfaces, adapters, just like any other provider for the SDN controller side. Now, what did we achieve so far? First of all, we are fully aligned with intent-based driven solutions. You don't have to define anymore, I need this and this port, I need this and this service, I need this other thing. You define on the template, this service is this and this, and I want to activate for this and this customer this service. And the system itself is selecting the proper templates. This brings you a huge amount of flexibility and automation. And one quite important thing is we found out that many of the resources are, let's say, not optimized used. You can also do it differently. And with a system automatically selecting the optimized way, you get spaces available where you have not found so far spaces. The other thing, the self-healing, I mentioned already. If the service is not provided properly, then the system itself will give a feedback and will provide information what would be a better solution or a different solution. I mentioned it before, the setup was completely done by our system engineer. It's, let's say, a little bit more technical guy than a sales guy. I'm a sales guy, sorry. I couldn't do it, but my system engineer is quite capable to do it. And you can adapt the situation really real time. One important thing, the service is measured. So if you grant to your customer that you provide a service of 100 megabit, the system is measuring this service. And if you cannot fulfill it anymore, it will give a feedback. If you provide to your customer security level, the system is measuring that the security level is delivered. And this gives also a quite substantial advantage to the existing situation that you today you set it up and you normally get tracked by faults. Here it's a continuous measurement. And with this solution, we think you can be quite future ready. Now, as said, by end of April, the complete setup will be ready and open for carriers to test it. We have white papers available. If you want to get more, feel free to contact me. We are happy to invite all carriers to test this demo. It's available for open domains. Good. That was it from my side. Thanks a lot.
Well, yeah, thank you, but don't leave, because I have a couple of questions. Now, if the audience does, please come up. But one of the things I'm kind of curious about is, so in that demo, in April, starting at the end of April, will an operator then, if they'll need a couple of the elements in their lab, say, but then a lot of it will be in the cloud, right? So they could just, they just need access to the internet, I guess?
We have this area completely in the cloud. This is physically available in our labs. The same is here. For example, this is our transmission area. This is available in our labs. But you can see very good in the cloud what the systems below are doing. Because here's the SDN controller. You know when you have an SDN controller, you see also what the elements are doing. Sure. But all the things are in the cloud, and you can log in with a remote access, which we grant you. Then you can see really what is happening here.
So you can virtually be there. You don't actually have to get on an airplane?
You can do it from here.
Excellent. Well, and speaking of cloud, we have someone who's going to be telling us more about the cloud later. So, Bruno?
Okay, I have a question related. My name is Bruno Cornaglia from Vodafone, sorry. I have a question. In one of your picture, there is two types of orchestrator. One is the network orchestrator, and another one is the network, is the domain orchestrator. Yep. So you have a domain and a network. What is the difference between the two, please?
The difference is more or less where you locate them. You can have this, for example, in the core area. From function-wise, it's quite similar what we have here. It's just where you locate this. We implementing this, for example, with a tier 1 carrier here in Europe. We are implementing this today with tier 2 carriers in US.
So one of the things I got out of this is oh, go ahead. I'm sorry, Mauro.
Just as a clarification, do they, as you made an example, I deployed this on a tier 1 case and this other one, a tier 2. Do they coexist in the same network? And I guess it's still on a case-by-case basis, but can you elaborate a bit?
Yeah, let's say when you look to tier ones, they have different areas. And then they use certain domains, and in this domain, they use orchestrators because they have to serve their area in this area. And then quite often you will find on top of it a multi-domain orchestrator. Okay? And one of the domain could be, for example, the access. It can be also the run orchestration. It can also be the run core orchestration. Quite often you will find also in the, especially when it comes to the complete mobile data, there is also an orchestration available. The system itself is quite always the same. We are doing always with intent fulfillment engines, with profiles, and depends just very much on the thing, how you interface here with the different things and with the REST-conf to the northbound.
Yeah. No, just as a clarification, as it looks like you're also making, well, you're making also an explicit connection to the Cloud CO work done by the broadband forum. I think that this is absolutely in line with the framework, and then additional documents, which I was not disputing, but as I see cloud network orchestration, there is of course some nomenclature. It looks like you're saying there is a higher level of orchestration that is able to digest OSS and typically OSS end-to-end high-level intents, and that logic gets to the degree of complexity of splitting it into domain-specific intents. And then the engine at each domain, of course, needs a different type of intelligence, which is specific, so taking access-related templates. Is that correct?
Correct. When you think, for example, you activate something on the core area, that you activate, for example, voice messaging topics. They have different systems below, and for the systems below, you have different profiles automatically. But the service itself, you can orchestrate and can say, okay, for this layer below, I use a different Helm chart, and then I break it down to the respective situations. And especially when it comes to containerized networks, then you have the Helm charts normally provided by the vendors for the different solutions. Whereby when you talk about the typical fixed area, let's say in the access, quite often there are adapters required. It will come, well, let's say when I think about the broadband forum, about the virtualizations, there will be also containerized functions where you have certain functions available, and you can use them with quite easily integrate them with Helm charts. Okay.
You kind of referenced different size operators. So how does this scale? Maybe from small to large operator.
We are right now in a discussion with a customer with only 1,000 customers. But these are mainly enterprise customers, so they are quite challenging for them. And yeah, I cannot tell you what is the bundle. Let's say what is the different real level. But when you imagine a customer with 50, 60,000 subscribers, written their own scripts, and now the person who is knowledgeable is going to retire. It is highly risky, let's say, careful. And if you can do it in an automated way, in a simple way, that you can, let's say, do with own profiles, and it's quite easy to learn this. I can tell you that, let's say, a customer of us did an onboarding of a complete 5G core within 3 weeks by themselves.
Oh my gosh.
So it's really simple. It's not that I say, okay, you need to be highly experienced, but it's really simple with the profiling, with the templates.
Excellent. Tom has a question.
Yes. Hi, Tom van Karnhem from Nokia. So when you create a new service, as you said, it all starts with a business intent, and the business BSS layer goes down and the service is created. Yep. So then I guess you keep monitoring the service, and then if something goes wrong, is that then also fed back into the upper layers using the same intent?
Absolutely. As I mentioned, that the service itself will be continuously monitored. First of all, it will be tested if it can be implemented. Then it will be implemented. And if it gets a feedback, it is now implemented, that the service is then going for green. Until you have the confirmation backwards, the system itself will not tell, okay, it's working. It will still be, let's say, in progress or red, failed. And vice versa, it monitors then the service. Is this service still active? Is it still working? I'm talking here really pure service, I'm not talking about the network elements. The failing, then automatically the system gets the information, okay, the service is failing and therefore I have to do something. And it will propose itself as much as possible. It's named artificial intelligence. I say today it's a pure machine learning. It's not something very sufficient. It's not like ChatGPT. It's definitely far away from this. But it can automatically evaluate what could be an alternative.
Yeah, but then the fact that the SLA might be breached for a certain time, this is then also fed back into the BSS layer, or is all the information and how it's being addressed being kept in the network layer?
Let's say right now it's on the orchestration layer, and it goes out via Kafka bus to the upper layer, to the top layer. Yeah. Including also the things around billing and such things, it will go the information. But what will happen with this beyond the Kafka bus? Sorry, it's on the operator side.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Well, Johan, that was a very enlightening presentation. I appreciate it, and we got us back. We're pretty much on time here, so thank you very much. Everyone, give him a hand.